Hi everyone, I hope you guys are keeping well. I would like to thank you for leaving me a message and give me some sort of direction. What do you need the most? In this video, I have a workout routine for you. If you are suffering from L4, L5, L5S1 disc bulges, or if you're suffering from sciatica. In this workout routine, I have basically explained for you and show you a routine of exercise to follow in a daily basis. In the meantime, I've added for you a warm-up and cool-down routine for you to do so. Now, in this routine, I show you a basic exercises, and I have two separate videos that I'm gonna upload with you in the next 2 following weeks that you can progress it from this basic routine to the intermediate and advanced routine. In the meantime, I've added 3 important tips at the end of this video that I would definitely suggest you to follow for your optimum results. Let's get started. If you've never been in my channel, my name is Bob, I'm a physical therapist, and the purpose of this channel is to help people like yourself with simple tips and exercise for quicker recovery. Make sure to subscribe my channel for my weekly update, and don't forget to press that like button. Alright guys, we're gonna start this basically routine with a warm-up session that I'm gonna show you quickly, and you can basically start your workout routine with a warm-up. In this warm-up, we are aiming to improve basically our mobility of your body, and at the same time start to kind of like loosen up your system. I'm going to show you the exercise one by one and you can give it a try. We're going to start with basically cat camel, which is a simple but effective exercise to get your upper back and lower back mobilized. You're going to go for a couple of rounds. You want to basically stretch the upper back, breathe in and breathe out. Breathe in and breathe out. And based on your own time, you can spend between 5 to 7 minutes on your warm-up and basically spend a good bit of time to mobilize the back. Especially if you're doing in the morning, I would suggest to spend between 3 to 5 minutes. We're gonna move on after the cat camel to thoracic rotation, which is a very simple exercise, but it can help you to improve the rotation in your upper back and your thoracic spine. We're gonna give it a try. I'm gonna show you in 2 different angles to basically try that. I'm gonna bring it in and breathe out. And try this. Go to the range that you feel comfortable. Change arms. Breathe in, breathe out. You can try the same thing in a different version, which means you can bring the arms in and bring them up. Breathe in and breathe out. Breathe in and breathe out. You can change arms. In and breathe out. All right guys, now the last exercise that is going to be part of your warm-up is going to be baby pose, which means you sit back on your foot if you can. If you don't feel comfortable, you can put some cushion here underneath of your basically your hip and lean forward, and you want to stretch, but at the same time you want to relax your back. Breathe in and breathe out. And breathe out. You want to basically let your lower back and upper back to be relaxed, and slightly now you can move to the right or left. You're going to stretch both sides and breathe out. You can spend 15 to 20 seconds each side and breathe out. Now this is an example of the warm-up, and we're going to move on now to the exercises one by one. All right guys, the first exercise that we're going to go through in this routine that you can start would be a hip hinge, and I'm going to teach you how to do the proper hip hinge, because in reality, in many cases, when you're starting your workout, you might create certain type of movements in your lower back that it doesn't feel comfortable and put your body in kind of like a spasm. Now, what the hip hinge exactly means, it means rather than to leaning forward and picking up something, you basically want to create that hinge movement from your hip and coming back. In this movement, we're going to practice this movement to slowly build you up in a standing position, and you can actually help yourself when you're lifting things to minimize the tension on your lower back. Literally, the easiest way that I explain this to my patient is to use one of your hands underneath of your lower back and the other one in front of your tummy, and thinking of that basically you want to minimize any kind of like curve movement in your upper or lower back and lean forward and create that basically hinge movement from the hip. With holding your hands and your lower back and the tummy, you can literally feel that movement coming from the hip. We want to lean forward and come back. Breathe in and breathe out. And breathe out. We're going to practice this for 3 sets of 8 to 10, and with doing this you gain basically confidence of leaning forward in a safe manner. Breathe in and breathe out. The same version can go to the standing position, which means you can do the same thing in a standing position. We want to try to create a little bit of knee bend, lean forward and back again and back again. If you imagine that in a lifetime situation, if you want to lift something from the ground, you're not going to do that. Basically, you're trying to hip hinge and lift and use your leg and your hip muscle to basically get that load and come back up. And that movement would be the progression, which means now I gain more confidence and I know how to do the hip hinge, and I push my bum out and get this movement. I suppose another clue that you can use here is to push your bum out and come back forward. Come out and come back forward. Try this exercise, guys. It's really simple and can help you to improve your lifting technique and also gain some confidence. The next exercise that I'm going to show you guys is going to be hip or glute bridges. That is a great exercise to strengthen your glute and your hip muscle. Why do you need to strengthen your glute muscle if you're experiencing lower back pain? Because these muscle groups can help you to minimize the pressure on your lower back, which means using these muscles, you can reduce the load on your lower back. I'm going to show you the exercise and you can give it a try. You're going to lie down on your back and you're trying to keep your feet shoulder apart, feet apart, hands next to your body, and you want to use your hand as a leverage to create that basically hip thrust. You're going to hold it there for a second. Make sure these muscles are engaged and basically get that contraction. Slow control down. You want to breathe in and out in all the exercises. You don't want to hold your breath. Hold it for a second. Slow down. Back up again. And down. Control. You want to try this exercise for 3 sets of 8 to 15 repetitions. If you've never done this routine, you might find glute or hip hinge, bridges a little bit difficult. Spend some time, breathe in and out, and try to minimize the quick and jerky movements. The following exercise that I'm going to show you guys is going to be kickbacks, which is a great routine to engage your core at the same time to strengthen your glute muscle. While we need to engage our core and increase our core strength, if you suffering from chronic, specifically low back pain, because many studies has shown that increasing your core strength can help you to minimize pain in chronic lower back pain. I'm going to show you the exercise and you can give it a try. You're going to be on the quarterback position, which means your hand's going to be underneath of your shoulder and your knee's going to be underneath of your hip. And we're trying to stabilize, engage our core, and you're going to basically, while you're doing that, you want to create that kickback movement and come back on the ground. Engage the core, slow down. As you can see, you need to focus and maintain your core engaged. We're gonna do 5 repetitions in one side, and then change leg, breathe in and out, and tighten up the core, and we're gonna go for other leg. If you want to challenge it, go a little bit slower. Slow and controlled, minimize the back movement, and with practicing this exercise, you can really feel it looks easy. I don't want it to do it very quick. You gotta be gentle and slow and slowly build it up. All right, guys, whenever you felt comfortable with the hip hinge movement and the next 3 exercises that I showed you so far, we're gonna progress this routine to basically wide stand squats. This exercise is a great exercise for you to basically build confidence and be able to use a bigger muscle group that you have in your hip and your thighs. In the meantime, engaging your core, and it's kind of like a functional movement. Why? Because we squat a lot through the day to pick up things and like doing things at home on the ground, etc. I'm going to show you the movement, and you can basically start from a basic version that I'm going to show you and slowly progress it. For the wide grip stand squat, we want to go basically stand in double and basically shoulder width apart, which means you're going to create a wider base, bring the toes slightly out, and try to basically create that support from the back if you can do it near the wall, because you want to avoid falling, etc. What I'm going to do, you basically can use the mat. It's not necessarily, if you don't need a mat, you don't need it, but this can give you a better grip. Now, what I'm going to do, I'm going to basically try the same thing, hold one hand in front and one hand at the back of my lower back, and try to basically drive my knees forward and sit on my head. I'm going to come back up. You want to breathe in and out, slow down, and come back up. Now, the range that you can go low in terms of deep squat, it depends on every single person, is different. Go through the range that you feel comfortable, which means if you find up to here, that's good for start, and come back up. Now, while you're doing this, as you can see, I hip hinge forward and come back. Breathe in and breathe out. Breathe in and breathe out. I'm going to show you from the side. Try the same thing. Basically, we want to hip hinge forward and come back up. Breathe in and breathe out. And breathe out. As you can see, I'm trying to do this movement slow and controlled. You want to start with 3 sets of, let's say, 5 to 8 repetition, and slowly progress it to 10 to 12 repetition. Now, the aim of this exercise is to basically use this muscle group and create that progression of hip hinge, and slowly feel more comfortable with basically bending forward without putting pressure on your lower back. All right, guys, we're gonna progress this routine to back extension, which is a simple exercise, but that can help you to improve your extension in your lower back. And in many cases, I use this exercise for you to actually reduce your pain. I'm gonna show you how to do it, and you can give it a try. You're gonna lie down, your tummy face down, and we're gonna basically engage the glutes and lower back and keep your foot on the ground. Hands next to your body in a push-up position, and you want to slowly bring the chest off the ground. While you're doing this movement, you want to slightly use your arm, but engage your lower back and glute muscle to lift you off the ground. You breathe out, and you come down, breathe in. Hold it there for a few seconds and breathe out. Slowly bring it down. We're going to practice this exercise, guys, for 3 sets of 5 to 8 repetitions, and always try to avoid lifting your hip off the ground, which means I don't want you to get too high up to here. That's a little bit too much. You want to leave the hip on the ground, which means your progression is going to be up to here. Slowly. You want to avoid jerky movement. And the aim of this exercise is on my future videos that you can see is to get you to basically push-up position and slowly build you up that core and upper body strength to progress that movement. Give it a try and let me know if you have any questions. All right guys, we're gonna finish this exercise with one of my favorite core exercises that you can use as part of your routine. In many of my videos, you've been asking me, can I do crunches to strengthen my core? The answer is yes, but the version of that you do the crunches, it can be different. In this basic routine, I'm gonna show you how to use modified version of the crunches to actually engage your core without aggravating your pain. In many cases, if you're suffering from L4, L5, L5 disc bulges or sciatica pain, flexion can be a little bit sensitive, and if you go for normal crunches, you might aggravate your lower back pain. It doesn't create any damage, but it won't be comfortable and it might get sore. Now I'm going to show you how to modify that exercise to a modified version of crunches, which you're basically going to lie on your back. Use your basically right arms underneath of your lower back, and we want you to create a pressure with your abdominal down to the hip, which means your hand gonna feel the pressure of your lower back. You wanna maintain that pressure, and with the opposite arms, you want to basically come up slightly to crunch position. As you can see, I'm not coming too high, slightly come up, maintain that pressure down there, and back down again. I'm gonna breathe in when I'm going down. Maintain that pressure on the lower back. All the way back, drop the shoulder down. You can do 5 of these. And one side, then change arms. Other side of the lower back. You're not sitting on your hip, it's actually underneath of your lower back. You basically apply a bit of pressure, you go to posterior tilt of your pelvis, and you want to try it from the other side. With slight movement coming up, you can engage your abdominal muscle. Try to maintain the pressure on the lower back and don't rush the movement. You got to practice this exercise, guys, for a couple of rounds to get familiar with it and be comfortable with it, and at the same time you want to basically be conscious of your lower back and your hand. You want to maintain that pressure throughout the movements. Basically finish this routine with a cool down routine that you can add at the end of your workout. In the cool down, we want to stretch the muscle, a little bit mobilize them, and focus on our breathing. I'm going to show you what we're going to do back to back, and we're going to finish it. Now, initially, we're going to basically lie down on our back and literally focus on hip stretch. We're going to bring one leg up. You can go as far as you can. You can modify holding it from underneath of your knee. If you find the knee sore, you can hold it that way. Hold it for 10-15 seconds. And after that, you want to basically relax your back and focus on your breathing, which means you're not holding any tension on your shoulder, on your neck, on your lower back. Focusing purely on your breathing, and go towards the range that you feel comfortable. 10-15 seconds. You can open up the arms slightly and a slight create a rotation on one side. If you find that is challenging, you can actually bring the other legs up and create that rotation with one arm. And breathe out. You want to change the same thing for the other leg. Hold it there for 10-15 seconds. Go to the range that you feel comfortable. Breathe in and out. Slightly now apply pressure and bring it to the side. Breathe in and out. Relax your lower back. You will feel a little of stretch on the hip and your lower back. That's normal. If you find that is a bit challenging. You can bring the legs up and slowly rotate. I'm gonna try this for 2 to 3 sets of 10 to 15 second hold. The next move, I'm gonna go for hamstring, basic stretch. This basically is a mobilization for your nerve as well. If you suffering from L4, L5, L5S1 disc bulge, or specifically sciatica pain, this movement can help you to basically neutralize your nervous system and minimize that tingling and sensation on your lower back and your leg. You can try that for, let's say, 10 repetitions for 3 sets in each side. Go to the range that you feel comfortable. Breathe in and out. If you watch my other videos, you might find a seated version of this exercise as well. It's pretty gentle, but it's brilliant as a warm-up or cool-down exercise. Try that for 8 to 10 repetitions each side for 3 rounds. From here, we're gonna go for basically side stretch. Basically, you wanna drop down the hip to one side. Focus on your breathing. I'm kind of like relaxing both knees to drop down. Feel the stretch here and all the way down through the hip. Hold it there, 10, 15 seconds. If you have more time, you can definitely spend more time. And I'm gonna go through other side. Spend 10-15 seconds there. Now, the last movement that we wanted to do in the basically cool down, it's gonna be focusing on diaphragm breathing, which is like literally using your diaphragm muscle more than your kind of like accessories muscle and like your upper chest muscle or your like basically neck muscle for breathing. We wanted to kind of like be conscious about that. We're gonna hold one hand on your abdominal muscle and one hand on your chest, and we want to make sure that the hand that is on the chest goes basically up and get the full air down to your abdominal and your basically your diaphragm muscle activated. Breathe into your nose. There are 2 phases in this basically breathing. The first phase is basically getting the abdominal up and practicing on that up and down movement, and the second phase is to hold your both hands next to your ribs and try to expand your ribs as you're breathing in. Apply a little bit of pressure when you push it down. Now, if you practice this breathing exercises, you can actually get better in it. It's kind of like a 3D breathing with your diaphragm muscle, which means comes out and outward. Give it a try and let me know if you have any question. I would like to share with you 3 important tips while you're following this routine that can help you for optimum results. The tip number 1 is that one of the common questions that you were asking me regarding your daily activity: can I go for a walk, or can I go for a run, or can I cycle, or can I swim? Aerobic exercise can be a great way for you to recover. If you can add those type of activity into your routine in a daily basis, that's a great opportunity for you to recover quicker and get back to your daily activity pain-free. Definitely put on those as part of your routine, as short as 30, 15, 10 minutes a day, and keep going. But having said that, if you find those activity bothers your pain, I wouldn't push it. I'll check, okay, if I can go for 10 minutes or 20 minutes of walk or run, that's perfect. But if I do it for an hour, you might get a little bit sore. I will back it off and stick to that 10 to 15 minutes and slowly progress it on a weekly basis. The second tip that I would like to share with you in this video is that the common question that you guys asking me: can I get fully recover after L4, L5 or L5S1 disc bulges? Yes, you can. There's several studies and research has shown that people who basically get this condition can get back to the normal activity without any issue, and your body does its own job, which means you recover no matter what. At the same time, you might say, okay, how long it takes for me to recover? For every single individual, that time can be different, from between 12 weeks or maybe 6 months. But I can't really give you a exact date that say, okay, it takes you 12 weeks. But average adults will take between 8 to 12 weeks for recovery. Stick to the plan, trust the process, and keep doing what you're doing. The last tips that I would like to share with you guys is consistency. If you've been watching my channel, in my most of videos, I try to re-emphasize that you gotta be consistent with your routine. If you wanna see progress, if you wanna see results, you gotta be consistent, which means try to stick to the plan, trust the process, and keep doing what you're doing. This routine can help you to basically progress from your rehab exercises that you used to do to a workout routine that slowly build you up from a basic routine to advanced, which means it will take a time between 6 to 8 to 12 weeks for your body to actually adapt to this routine, which means you don't want to jump from a basic routine suddenly to an advanced routine. Put on that work time that you have to do, 10-15 minutes a day, and in a few weeks time you can basically progress this routine to an intermediate and advanced routine. I hope you guys find this video helpful. If you have any question about this video, leave me a comment underneath of this video and I would be happy to help. If you have any further question regarding back pain, sciatica, or disc bulges, I have many videos in my channel that can give you information for you to be able to recover and get back to your routine. Don't forget to subscribe my channel for my weekly update, and don't forget to press that like button. Until next week, all the best.